Hello and welcome to DarkMouse's Daily Scroll with me, DarkMouse.
And me, Seth.
Cool, so we are into a quick match against Jestabit, who, as I recall, was quite the good player. And here I am again playing with the Decaying Souls deck. The basic way this is going to work is, because I have two decks that I'm happy with using right now, I'm going to alternate between using Decaying Souls and the Automated Titans. So you're going to see around about half each week, so 3 days will be one, 3 days will be the other, but alternated a little bit around so you don't get bored of seeing 3 episodes where all 3 are just using the Decay deck. And as I add more decks that I'm happy with using to my deck, like my deck pool, we'll call it, you'll see more decks being introduced that way. The Gravelock deck that I'm putting together isn't too far away from being finished now, and once that's finished, I'll be able to bring that out and put that in the episodes as well. So I'll have 3 decks I'll just cycle through the week.
So, oh, excuse me. Sorry, both of us seem to be a bit growly today. I'm not sure exactly what's happened, but...
it's just one of those days.
Yeah.
Apologies for no episode up yesterday. We had a few things we had to sort out and it was a bit tight for time. So at the end of it we thought best to leave it till today rather than staying up all night trying to make sure it's uploaded anyway.
Yeah, I would rather give you guys a good episode, for a given definition of good anyway,
Yeah.
than rush something and, yeah. So instead we'll do an extra episode on Sunday just to, make sure you've got your 6 daily scrolls for this week.
Yep, because we know some of you just can't get by without those 6 daily scrolls.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez. So here I've got a Bitterroot, which is going down in front of the Undead Husk.
Yay.
And they're playing Order, so this is going to be a very, very interesting game.
Yeah.
Because Order is kind of like the antithesis to Decay.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's more the antithesis of growth, we decided, wasn't it?
I think that Order kind of represents, mankind wanting to control the elements, all that kind of thing, and impose their own ideals. It's like Azorius in Magic. The imposition of rules and order and everything else.
Fair enough.
Decay and growth present the two antitheses of that, because growth is very much rampant, uncontrolled expansion, whereas decay is rampant, uncontrolled destruction.
That's very true. This is an interesting thing. They've got the Desert Memorial out and they put plating on it.
Yeah.
Because a Desert Memorial with the right enchantments can be ridiculously tough. Now, I've just put the Shroud of Unlife on an Undead Husk because, well, if it dies, I get another one straight away. It's brilliant. They're playing as an Order Energy player, which is quite interesting. That's another instance of plating on the Desert Memorial. They really want that kept alive, which means either they're looking at just annoying me that a little bit longer. It's a case of, it's a 1 toughness memorial. It needs to die. Why won't it die? It's
Order energy growth at this point.
Yeah, geez, a tricolour deck. You don't see many of those, even though they are fantastic to play against. They are brilliant.
Sorry, go on.
They have this power to them, because as long as you've got the structures cycling through your deck, they feed off each other. So once you get to a certain point, you have the resources to keep playing these structures down, and you never need to sack for resources ever again. So there's me just moving the Cursemonger out the way of the Stormrunner. Stormrunners are nice little, well, not little obviously. Stormrunners are quite the nice creature in energy, because it means that you can make an energy deck that's completely creatures with no structures, no lobber structures, and you can still have a lobber in there.
Nice.
Because he does area of effect damage on a 2x2 tile grid.
Cool.
So as you can see, every time I hover over him, those 4 tiles on my side, the pure Undead Husk is probably going to get a bit crushed.
Ow.
So
That would hurt.
a little bit, yeah. So here's me with more Shrouds of Unlife. That roll that he's got going there is particularly potent. I mean, yeah, fair enough. It's only got a few things on it now, but it's gonna be one hell of a difficult roll to shift.
Yeah.
And there's that. The Desert Memorial still won't die. And there's a good way of getting rid of a Stormrunner.
Yay.
Put Infectious Blight on him, then curse him.
Curse amping up that damage, of course, from the poison damage he'll take every turn.
Yep. Ow, that's a burn. So there's my first Undead Husk dead, then replaced with the undead husk I get from Shroud of Unlife.
So basically, it's dead but not quite.
Yeah.
For all intents and purposes.
Pretty much. And that basically means now that if I don't, unless I do something about that Dust Runner, that undead husk is dead once the Dust Runner's countdown kills off. Actually, no, it won't be. The Dust Runner will be dead first because of his Infectious Blight. So I don't need to worry too much, but if I didn't have Infectious Blight, that Dust Runner basically has Slayer against any creature that has health 3 or less.
Jeez. So it just kills them outright.
Exactly. And that's 2 burns in a row. Jeez. Ow. That's...
A slight taste of your own medicine there, to an extent.
Yeah, a little bit. It's because of, wow, okay, they've used 1 burn, the odds of them having another burn in a tricolour deck are quite low. So I should be fine. Burn. Oh, bloody hell, come on. That's a good play. That's a brilliant play right there. So now it's a case of, do I get more resources or do I get more cards? I went for more resources and I chose to play down the Ilmai Rot Eater because the chances of them having a 3rd burn in a row is quite,
You hope that it's not going to happen.
Yeah. And there's the Searing Shackles on the Desert Memorial because they don't seem to want that memorial to go anywhere. So you know what? It won't. It can stay there and do damage to their stuff. And oh my god, that's a 3rd burn.
3 burns in a row.
That was brilliant.
Dirty as fuck.
Oh hell yes.
Really good draw though. Like
A brilliant draw. That was amazing. Ow. Really good play there. That just wiped my board of cheap creatures. And there's Infectious Blight back on the Dust Runner.
Yeah.
Oh. And I'm saving Hex Marks because last time I put it on a creature that ended up in no position to do damage to an idol. So now I think it's a case of if they can do damage to the idol, then I'll put Hex Marks on them.
Yeah.
It's the only time I'd ever say save your card. Because I've only got a couple of Hex Marks in there and I don't always draw them that quickly.
Yeah.
So I personally find it's best to just save it and hope for the best, basically.
Yeah.
So they've got 6 energy down. And a Clock Library. That's not too bad. So there's the Searing Shackles going off, just get me a bit of extra damage down. So I've got a Maya Curse, I think, on that Desert Memorial as well, so anything that goes near it will take 1 poison damage. At the beginning of every turn. Life Stealer. Always fun. And there's the Hex Marks down.
Yay.
Which means that will now do 6 damage. Reducing that idol to 1. And now they've got no creatures. Now it's weird to see they've only got 1 growth and 2 energy. Oh, hello.
They just called back that memorial.
Yeah, they did indeed. Which means they can play it down again because they've sacked for resources.
Mm-hmm.
And Thunder Surge.
Ow.
Jeez. That's kind of painful. Oh look, Draining Mist. Useful. Not just yet, because that Clock Library is still not on 1 countdown yet.
Yeah.
So we'll get rid of it. And, ooh, hello, a Loyal Darkling.
Yay.
Brilliant, just what the doctor ordered. So I think... Well, that and the Oblivion Seeker. Because the Oblivion Seeker is quite weak. A Violent Dispersal or a Burn, I'll get rid of it. But they do that and I get 2 extra cards.
Nice.
Indeed. But for the countdown potential of the Loyal Darkling, because it's the same kind of principle, it'll just do 2 damage instead of getting me scrolls, I'll may as well play that first. Because hopefully I'll draw another Ilmai Rot Eater soon. So there's the Eye of Eagle. I think that 1 growth is there just for the Eye of Eagle. Jeez, that is a... Their energy is now going up spectacularly. They don't need to sack for energy anymore.
Nope.
So now putting enchantments on that Desert Memorial is kind of pointless.
A little bit, yeah.
I mean, they've played 2 callbacks now, but feasibly, I think unless pushback can only target your opponent's creatures, getting a pushback on your own stuff is a brilliant way of pulling it back to your hand and putting it back on the field again.
Well, there are 2 from my playing of Order that work. There's callback, which works on your creatures, and pushback, which works on other people's.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if the 2 are interchangeable. I know callback only works on your creatures.
Yeah.
I think pushback is... It might work on both.
Yeah.
It's designed predominantly, as best I can tell, to work on enemy creatures. I'll have to try it out at some point, see if I can shove things back to my own hand.
Yes, I think because that'd be quite useful if you could. Now here, you can see me making quite economic use of the Life Stealer, because whenever he kills a unit outright, he heals up fully.
Nice.
Which is brilliant, because if someone burns him and then he just kills another unit, you can't guarantee being able to weaken him.
Yeah.
You've got to be able to take him out all at once. So now, for some reason, they put plating on the clock library. A smart move, unless I draw this. Boom, it's now got 3 turns.
Oh.
It's brilliant. And there's no reason for me not to keep the Loyal Darkling alive at this point. Because the Loyal Darkling, brilliant. You don't need to sack it every time it gets to that 0 countdown.
Yeah.
You just have it attack. It only does 1 damage. But then it's still that 1 damage extra.
Yeah.
And it's still doing something. Whereas if you sack it, it's just gone.
First blood.
Yep, there's 1 idle down. So far, it's 1 idle to no damage. But a good game so far. I mean, I think the only real reason I've been able to do this powerfully is because I've got creatures.
Yeah.
And I don't know exactly what it is that stopped my opponent from getting creatures. I mean, they look like they've got mainly energy.
Yeah.
So, at the moment, they've got plenty of energy. They don't need to worry about that anytime soon.
Probably the same thing that gave them 3 burns at the start of the game.
Yeah.
Was, an abundance of structures and, removals.
Yeah,
Or spells in general.
But not creatures.
No creatures.
That's kind of annoying for them. I've been in that situation before, it's not nice. But, yeah, that's working on my 3rd idol. Now, they put Waking Stones down, and those are a nightmare to kill off. An absolute nightmare.
So much fun.
And you can't curse them and make them do anything extra either. Now, they're doing the very smart thing and putting that clock library up there, putting them both up there, because at this point, there's nothing really I can do to take them out.
Yeah.
And in all fairness, I'm not going to try, because, yeah, fair enough, a clock library, it will get them 3 extra cards. Yeah, that's an extra dead idol.
Yeah.
That's the Loyal Darkling's quite nice ability there.
Dirty as all hell.
Yep. Boom.
This isn't looking good for your opponent, I'll be honest.
It's not, but it's not the end.
Shit can swing either way at this point.
Yep, and that was a brilliant play. Using speed on a clock library, reducing its countdown by 3, means it sacks itself as soon as that happens. You get extra cards in your hand straight away. And
there's an Iron Ogre.
Yep, and there is the creature that can really tip it for them.
Yeah.
Because all they have to do now, because if I want to attack the top idols, I'm going to have to start whittling them down and whittling them away very slowly. But that last idol's only on 3.
Yeah.
Now, at this point, they've got to realise that my my Loyal Darkling, when it dies, it will deal 2 damage to that idol. But they also know I've had 2 out already. So if they've been paying attention, then they'll know that I can only have 1 left. And that the chances of me drawing that this late in the game are quite possibly a bit lower at this point.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to be dealing a lot of damage to the Iron Ogre. Not quite enough to kill it, I don't think.
Not quite, no.
Because I haven't been able to curse it either.
You get it down to 1 health, assuming you deal all that 6 damage to it.
Yeah, assuming they haven't got plating on it. Which, no, they haven't.
Nope.
Oh no, I did kill it. I must have cursed it. Jeez, yeah, it's dead.
Ow.
That leaves just the Copper Automaton left to defend that. So as you can see, energy has got some really nice and nasty creatures, but if you don't get them out, this is the danger of tricolour deck, I find, is that if you don't get those, if you don't have that abundance of creatures of that particular type, then you're kind of stuck. There we go, that's a brilliant way of playing it.
Another Iron Ogre.
Yeah, well, bear in mind that they've only got 1 growth, but they've been using that 1 growth to get them the Eye of Eagle card. That only costs 1 growth. And if that's the only card you're using, then you only need 1 growth for it.
Yeah.
Now, I would argue that if that is the only card you're using, then perhaps you need to reevaluate whether or not you really want to keep growth in your deck at all, because it's the same premises with Magic. If you've got a 4-mana deck and you've only got 1 card in your entire 60-card deck that is, say, red, so requires a mountain, is it really then worth putting that card in? Because then you're having to use land slots for more mountains.
Yeah, to be fair, there is the counterpoint to that, though. I mean, my Angel deck, I play ostensibly red, white, and blue, but I've only got one blue creature and one red creature in there, and that's all of it.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough.
I would say that, from my point of view, if it's only one thing you have to sack to get that one resource that guarantees your ramp, it might be worth it. But then, I don't know, that's from my Magic playing than my Scrolls playing, really.
Yeah, I guess it does quite heavily depend on your playstyle.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, I'm kind of... I personally, from my point of view, would say that just for the one growth card, it might not be worth it. But then again, that's just my particular way of doing it, because my playstyle says to me that if I'm just sacking... I could have 10 energy right now, rather than 9 and 1 growth. In saying that, they do have 10 energy right now. It's almost as though they could read my mind and look into the future at the same time. So, yeah, so that's, tricolour decks, they're a little bit... And what do you think about the premise of a tricolour deck?
I think if you can give it that synergy that it needs, then it's one hell of a fighting force. They can go horribly wrong. I've seen, when you've been playing games that have gone horribly wrong for the player of a tricolour deck. But I think they're far more viable in Scrolls than they are in, say, Magic, where if you go above 2 mana, you're running a real risk of being land-starved. But in Scrolls, because you sack for resources as opposed to having to draw them, there's a lot... I know, they just make a lot more sense, because you can... I can't play that yet. Okay, I'll sack for this particular resource.
Yeah.
Have a balance of each of them, and then be able to unleash merry hell when it comes to doing it.
No, that's fair enough.
That's a thought, actually. Do you think we'll see dual resource cards eventually? Or dual resource scrolls?
I'd hope so. It'd be quite cool. In fact, it'd be brilliant if that was the case. Just quickly, sorry to interrupt. A good player by them is Transposition. They moved the Desert Memorial and the Waking Stones. And at this point as well, I thought I'd try cursing the Waking Stones, seeing if that would up the damage they take by 2, which would otherwise kill them off, which would be quite nice. But as it stands, we'll see. It might not work, it might do.
It's a case of rules as written versus rules as interpreted. So,
yeah, exactly.
Does Curse win out with the... every time it takes damage, it does 1 extra damage, or 2 extra damage, or whichever to correspond with the curse level? Or does the Waking Stones rule of... Well, we've just proved the Waking Stones rule of it will only ever take 1 damage.
Damn it.
Stands completely above and beyond everything else.
Ooh, also there, Blind Rage.
Oh.
It pumped up that Ilmaya Roddy to the 8/8, but it killed off everything else around it.
Good play.
Oh yes, very good play by them. Gets rid of my creature count, but unfortunately for them, that does mean that I have a particularly potent Ilmaya Rot Eater.
Yeah.
This later stage of the game, I have to hope that they don't have something like a Violent Dispersal. I've got 3 of them in my deck and I can't think of the word for it. Ridiculous.
Yeah, you always draw a blank when you're recording. It's like...
Oh my god.
Sat thinking about something or talking about something, and then you go, what?
Yeah, exactly.
You could have talked about it 30 seconds before you started the recording, and then suddenly, boom.
Yep, it's ridiculous. Oh my god. That a Draining Mist there is useful. Now they've got a Metal Wonder, but it's going to take them a long time to use that to wear me down. But it is good to help boost that attack value a little bit more.
Yeah.
And that's me just moving stuff around to make sure I've got the ability to place other things I need to keep myself alive that bit longer.
Yeah.
Now, we're saying on dual cards. I think the possibility of a set of dual resource cards will be quite interesting. So say you need 2 energy and a growth to play this particular card. I don't quite know how they would work the factions together to do that, but I'll be very interested to see how it works out.
Well, we've already seen memorials and things that cost 1 form of energy but give energy of another.
Yeah.
Or resources of another. So, we I guess we'll see what happens, you know.
Yeah.
Anything's possible at this point. This is a game that has one hell of a good framework,
Oh, yes.
and they could build it in any direction they really wanted to from here. Actually, really, there's a solemn giant.
Oh, dear. That can spell certain doom for me.
Yeah.
Because that can hit for it.
Ooh. And it is hitting for 8. Wow.
The perks of having 10 energy resources on you.
Just go, solemn giant, it's attacking this turn.
Yep, and there's nothing you can do about it. Sorry. Jeez.
I'm actually quite proud to be, in on the ground for Scrolls and seeing where it's going, because, it's really impressive to see. And you can really follow the development and everything else as you go. I mean, obviously not the basics, but,
No, they do keep their player base completely appraised of what they're doing. And I keep forgetting that it's even in beta.
Yeah.
I keep thinking it's a full release, and every time they release something new, I'm like, oh, brilliant, oh yeah, it's a beta, isn't it? Oops.
Yeah, that's the one thing Mojang do very well, though. Again, as proved with Minecraft. They make games that are in beta not feel like they're a beta. They make them feel like they're actually, a polished product.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, Minecraft was so very simple and clever in what it did that, beta or not, it was a game that you could play and use and be happy with.
It was particularly nice, and Scrolls has built on that again to be something amazingly well polished. Now, what are you looking forward to for future releases? Like, what would be your ideal wish list for a Scroll future release?
I'd like to see a few more factions, maybe some elemental type things, I don't know, an elementals deck possibly.
That'd be cool.
It could be a lot of fun. I'd be very interested to see if they did do the dual colour scrolls, or dual faction scrolls, but I don't know, they could needlessly complicate the game, but then this is Mojang, they've proven that they can do simplistic mechanics very, very well.
Oh, hell yes. Now, this has become a huge turnaround in this particular game, because compared to what they had a few turns ago, and to what they have now, they are doing ridiculously well for their resources. They've got 1 growth, 10 energy, and 4 order, putting them on a cumulative total of 15 resources, more than twice what I have overall. They've also got out a Cannon Automaton and an Iron Ogre off countdown each. So my entire row is going to die unless I do something.
And the Solemn Giant on 4.
Yeah, they've got 2 Solemn Giants down now.
Oh, geez, yeah, they have.
Yeah.
This is quite the turnaround in fortune.
Oh, yes.
And once again proving that you can honestly pull a game back from 2 dead idols and 1 on 1 health.
Oh, yes. It's brilliant. Now, the only hope for me now is that I can do enough damage to kill off all of their stuff quite quickly. Now, that Ilmaia Rotita doesn't have Relentless. There's nothing in Decay that I have found that can give creatures Relentless. I so wish there was, but it's just not Decay's style. So that destroys taking damage, that Cannon Automaton's dead, but most of that row is dead. And actually, no, unless they increase the attack value of the Iron Ogre, my lifesteal will survive on 1 health. There's a dead Ilmaia Rotita.
Boom.
There's an 8/8 creature just gone. That's the power of energy.
Just straight up removal.
Yep. That's quite powerful. And it's quite annoying as well. I can say, okay, yeah, that entire row's dead.
Oh!
Desperation. Oops.
You see, I always dismissed Desperation as a card that I wasn't particularly interested in using.
Yeah.
But seeing it played on a big creature where the drop in health doesn't matter nearly as much,
Exactly.
that's a nice play.
You could play Grizzly Graft on your Ilmaia Rotita and then play Desperation on it as well. And really boost it up.
That would be dirty as fuck.
And then give it Relentless as well.
Ah.
Using Machination Mindset.
You see, again, where the synergy between 2 different decks comes to mind. You've got so many interesting effects from different scrolls, from different factions, that, I can't see how anyone would play just a single colour for any length of time, not without making it incredibly refined.
Yeah. I think you can only get to a certain point. Once you're at that point, your decks become that refined that there's nothing else to do with it, really.
Yeah.
I mean, I play mono decks because I'm actually I quite like the mono decks. They're quite nice.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to go into other combination decks. I think the first combination deck I'll be able to do will be the first combination deck I'll be able to do well will be the Gravelock deck. Like I say, I only need now, I think, one more Gravehawk, possibly a Gravelock Elder, another Unbind, a Sandpack Memorial of some kind, and probably the Decay card that gets you energy. I think I've got one of those, but I can't be sure.
Yeah.
And I need to put in a few extra structures in there as well, because that way I've got all the synergy that I need, so I don't particularly need to sack for any particular resource, except for in the first turn.
Now, here's a question for you. Do you think we're going to start to see scrolls that are very specific of purpose? Like, say in Magic, there are certain cards that were released with a set, 10 years ago, that were designed for very specific purposes, like for people who wanted to play, say, a predominantly white with a tiny amount of red deck that, also dealt extra damage while gaining a small amount of life or something like that. And there's just one particular card that is very specific to that one purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think we're ever going to see that kind of thing in Scrolls, or do you think it's more of a different environment?
I think it might be a bit of a different environment for that. But then, I don't know, that's an interesting question, actually. I think it'd be a different environment, and I don't think they'd be able to do it quite as well. But, at the same time, I think that Mojang can surprise us.
Yeah.
And we might see that happening.
We place our faith in Notch, I guess.
Yes, indeed. Something we should also mention while we're here, actually, we now have a Twitter account live.
Yeah, we are at the Void Hive. Come follow us.
Yes, come stalk the Void Hive.
Yeah, we got a shock last night, actually, when I followed Gabriel Iglesias. Big shout out to the fluffy man here. You've actually met my little brother. He bought you cake after a gig. But, he turned around and followed us right back, and that was a really cool moment. It's just like, holy shit, we have, a celebrity following us.
That's quite cool.
We're not shallow, honest.
No, definitely not. Why would we be shallow?
That was pretty damn awesome. Come follow us on Twitter. There's a link in the description below. As with everything on YouTube, there is a link in, general description area that goes below the video, at the video's crotch, if you will.
Oh dear. Yes, the links are more like the video's crotch plate.
Sorry, we were being too highbrow with all the mechanics discussions and stuff. I had to lower it again.
Oh, that's fair enough. Oh dear. Now, we have a Twitter account now. Come follow us if you feel the need that you might want to, or if you just decide to come and spam us with whatever, I guess. Don't do that.
We tweet occasionally, but it's a good way to see all of our videos because we put them direct to Twitter as well now.
Yep. Oh dear, we've become social media whores.
Yeah, also, guys, look us up on Facebook. We do have a Facebook page. It's the Inexplicable Void Hive. Mm-hmm. I seem to have made that needlessly complex, but that was set up years ago when all of this was just a twinkling in the eye of, me, actually, on my own at that point.
Oh dear. It's grown into this now.
Yeah.
That's quite cool.
I'm amazed to see, even to hear, how far the Void Hive as a concept has come.
Yes, it's become quite nice, actually. Quite nice to be a part of. Because obviously I wasn't part of the original thing. I've kind of just been subsumed into it. I'm quite pleased with that. I'm quite happy with where that's turned out. Owl, that's a dead row. Also, their deck cycled back through again. Yeah. Because the Ilmaya Rotita got burned. And they've used 3 of those already.
Yeah.
Hello. The only way I can win this now is if I do something incredibly dirty. This is what I call my Necro Darkling play. This is a one that I found that I could do once I hit 8 resources. I played on a Loyal Darkling, and as you can see, I have a Necrogeddon in my hand. That destroys all my creatures and replaces them with undead husks on countdown 0. Why would that be useful, I hear you say? Well, Put it this way. When the Loyal Darkling is destroyed, it deals 2 damage to the idol on that row. Necrogeddon destroys all your creatures. It's a case of do the math kind of here.
Yeah.
This would normally be a completely unwinnable situation. I would not be able to recover from this because they have far too many creatures and their deck has cycled back through, putting all of their removal back into their deck ready to be drawn again. It's kind of bad. Now I'm just glad. Actually, it wouldn't matter if they removed the Loyal Darkling or not. I would still win.
Yeah.
And this is the point whereby I can win. I just cast Necrogeddon, and boom.
And yeah,
that's the Necro Darkling play. That was a really, really brilliant game by Just a Bit. They held on for a lot longer than I think they was possibly expecting. Their deck was really, really well put together, and I loved it. It was an awesome tricolour deck.
Yeah, that really proves that Scrolls has that amazing synergy.
Indeed. So we're going to grab a Desert Memorial today. That's all we've got time for. Please like, favourite and subscribe to support the series and the channel. I'll catch you next time.
Bye guys.